don't know if you guys saw the 13-year-old girl who I don't think she was expelled, but she was suspended and sent to an alternative school for 2 weeks because she and a couple of their classmates beat up a boy who is sending around AI nude content of her. But I think, unfortunately, this is probably going to start to happen more. They're just starting to make like legislation against creating child that is AI generated. The thing that's hard about this seems to be a pattern, right? Like a boy will do something sexually inappropriate to a girl in middle school or high school or even elementary school, and it's the girl who gets in trouble for it because she brings it to an adult's attention, or she gets in trouble for doing that. The boy doesn't get more than a slap on the wrist or isn't told that his behavior is wrong, and this is where it's actually the most important to give consequences is in childhood so that boys grow up with an understanding of social consequences for antisocial behavior, and by antisocial I mean actions that harm other people, don't consider the feelings and rights of others. Creating a content of someone like that is an anti-social act because you're doing that without someone's consent. It's just like another way for them to violate consent, basically. Already when I was growing up, that we had the bare minimum of sex ed. And I got lucky that I didn't just get like the abstinence education because that's usually what they do. I think it's partly because of the state I grew up in isn't red. So in red states, that's where like the abstinence thing comes in. Literally, there's schools where they like have you like sign a thing that's saying you're not gonna have sex until you get married. And that goes into our obsession with women being pure and innocent and always having to be childlike a little bit because that's like where the purity culture comes into play. But it's dangerous to not give children, especially little boys, the proper sex ed, is because if not, they're literally just learning off of porn. And that's what they have been doing, basically. So that's why, like, literally men, like, they don't know how to ask for consent unless someone has told them how to do it. If not, they're just gonna watch porn and then think that's how sex is supposed to be. And when you never see the actors talking to each other, you never see them discussing what they will and won't do, what are hard no's. And you don't see them talking about like safe words or stop words or like, and then also like using spit too. That doesn't work in real life. Newsflash. You can try, but that's how immediately I know a guy has been an addict, as if he wants to use spit instead of. But having not giving children the proper SED too leaves them vulnerable to being sexually abused, because if you don't teach someone about consent, then how would they know if they're going to be assaulted? Because if you don't have a concept of consent, then you don't understand that like you have autonomy over who can touch you and who is not allowed to touch you. But unfortunately, I think there's probably going to be a direct correlation between like a more increase of like boys under 18 having like violent behavior towards girls, um, that will be correlated with like bad sex ed or just not giving it at all, because that's the thing, a lot of parents just assume that the school does a good enough job at it, or they don't want to do it, they would rather have someone else do it for them. And that's where I differed too, because thankfully I had one parent who cared enough also talked to me about it. I didn't just get information from school, but this was all over the place.